Lot of brushes and lot of choices. Let's see which brushes are best for acrylic painting in today's video. Hi, this is Modula, the artist behind Modula Creations, helping you to learn to draw, paint and relax through art. There is a lot of confusion around which types of brushes are best for acrylic painting. In this video, we are going to solve that problem. I'm not only going to give you what are the brush types available, I'm also going to share how to choose your brushes rightly for acrylic painting. Let's get started. Which brushes are best for acrylic painting? Let's dig deep into it. So the first type of brushes that I'm going to show is the bristle brushes. These have hard bristles and there are also different shape of bristle edges. For example, this is a full bed, this is a round, this is a flat. So you get different types of shapes at the edge of the brush. These hard bristle brushes are made up of natural or synthetic material. So in case of natural material, it could be made of some sort of animal hair such as hog, and if it is not natural, they are also made up of synthetic materials. So this is the bristle brush. I do use the bristle brush for acrylic painting, and I'll tell you by the end of the video when to choose these kind of brushes. The next type of brushes that I am going to introduce to you is the synthetic brushes. So in synthetic brushes, the bristles are little softer than the bristle brush. See, here it is little harder and here it is little softer. And they also come in different shape edges. So for example, here this is a flat brush, this is a round brush, this is a filbert brush, this is a cat tongue brush. So they come in different shapes at the edge of the bristle. I've done an entire video on what are the bristle types that are available for you to paint. I'll just link it in the card above. You can go and watch it after watching this video. So in this case of synthetic brushes, they are not natural. So the bristles are always made up of some kind of a synthetic material. So my go-to brushes for acrylic painting particularly is mostly synthetic brushes. I will tell you in a moment on why I use synthetic brushes rather than the natural hair brushes. The third type of brush that I want you to know is the watercolor brushes. So in watercolor brushes, if you see, the bristles are so very soft so that it can pick up lot of color during the painting session. So these brushes, as you can see, are so super soft, and they can also be made up of both natural and synthetic elements. So these are the basic three sets of things that you wanted to know: the bristle, the synthetic and the watercolor brushes. As you can see, the synthetic brushes bristle flexibility is somewhere between the bristle brushes and the watercolor brushes. So it's very perfect for usage with the acrylic colors. The next point to remember is when you are using natural bristle brushes or a brush that is made up of natural elements such as a hog brush, in that case, what happens is the acrylics tend to ruin the brush so quickly than any other brush. So always try to use a synthetic brush, but you will choose the edge depending on the area you are painting. I also use bristle brushes for acrylic painting, but even in the bristle brushes, I tend to choose the synthetic made ones and not the natural ones. You might have to keep 3 points in mind when you are choosing your brush. The first is the flexibility of the bristle. Whether it is hard or very soft or somewhere in between, that is the first thing that you will choose. For acrylics, it's better to use either the harder edged brushes or the synthetic medium soft brushes, not the very soft ones, because it's very hard to pick up your paint with these bristles. The second is the handle length. Most of the watercolor brushes does not have a very long handle, they have a shorter handle because of the techniques that we use in watercolor. Nevertheless, see, this is a synthetic brush, this is a watercolor brush, both are of same size, but you get very long handles in synthetic and the bristle brushes. So see how long they are. So for particular techniques, we actually use the edge of the brush. We hold the handle here at the edge and then try to paint. So in this case, we need a very long handle for those techniques. The next one is the durability of the bristle. So if you are using acrylic, as I said earlier, the natural bristles will not suit much because acrylic tends to spoil the brush bristles. And another point is that the natural brushes are so costly than the synthetic brushes. So you can get 4 or 5 synthetic brushes at the price of one brush which is natural. So that is why we always use or mostly use synthetic brushes. Now that you know about the specific type of bristles available for you to paint in acrylics, let's see what are the type of questions that you need to ask for any painting. Before that, if you are new to acrylics, here is my free guide, Better Your Acrylics. It has top 25 tips covering all the areas for you to improve your acrylic paintings. Download from the link book.modelacreations.com and it is completely free. The first question that you will ask is, what am I going to do with this painting? Am I going to cover a larger area or am I going to just work on very small detailed areas? If you are covering a larger area, then you will use very large brushes like this, which has a lot of bristles and a bigger area width for you to paint. Or if you are going to add details or very thin lines to the painting area. So in that case, you will either use a very thin rigger brush or a very thin detailing brush. So that is the first question you will ask. If you are new to my channel, I do post video tutorials, product reviews and much more on my channel every single week. So do subscribe and also click on the bell icon so that you get notifications whenever I post a new video. The second question that you will ask is, what type of output do I really want from the painting? Whether you want an impasto style of output or you want a more softer look and detailed painting. In case you want a thicker impasto-like appearance, use the bristle brushes. So I use the bristle brushes for foliages or a foreground tree where I wanted to show a little bit of a texture to it. So in those cases, I use a synthetic bristle brush. If you want a smooth or a soft appearance to your painting, go with these kind of synthetic brushes. These will not leave the bigger strokes or the bigger textures like your bristle, and you will be able to smooth out your acrylics very easily. So in that case, if you want a smooth and soft appearance, you can go ahead to use these synthetic brushes. You can choose to use both the brushes in any of your paintings. So in my case, if I'm doing a landscape and I want the foreground to be more textured than the background, for example, I'm doing a scenery where I have a mountain at the distance and I wanted it to be very soft, I go ahead to use the synthetic brushes there. At the same time, when coming to the foreground or painting the foreground, I go ahead to use the bristle brushes for the bushes or the trees where I want that emphasis and the output of that to have more textured effect. So depending on the area that you are painting, you can choose to use both the brushes in your painting as well. And the final thing is, do not use watercolor brushes for the acrylic painting. It does not hold the paint and it's very hard to paint with those brushes. Hope you got a thorough idea of how and which brush to choose for your acrylic painting. Here is the question for the day. Which is your favorite acrylic painting brush? Leave it in the comment section below. Also, if you have any doubts or questions, just ask them in the comment section. I will answer each and every single question. We'll meet in the next video. Until then, bye from Madhula. Have a great week. Happy painting.